have a responsibility to provide security and care.
Just when President Cyril Ramaphosa thought the Phala Phala matter was behind him, a major legal blow from the Constitutional Court has cracked the case wide open. But while the court focused on the law, a darker, more dangerous story is resurfacing. A story of a 50 million rands bribe, a shadowy underworld cartel member, and an alleged hit on the man who started it all, which is Mr. Arthur Fraser.
You see, there were some sensational revelations made during the last week of January. Also, I was so perturbed by the boldness to actually lie under oath, not just to the nation but to the globe.
The core of this new controversy revolves around a staggering allegation that Arthur Fraser was offered 50 million rands to drop the criminal charges he laid against the president in 2022. For those who need a refresher, Fraser was the first to blow the whistle on the theft of millions of dollars hidden in the couch at the president's farm. He's a former senior public servant and intelligence official, best known for his leadership role as head of the State Security Agency and National Commissioner for Correctional Services. Before we can delve deep, it is very important for you South Africans to understand that this is an old case. These allegations are old, dating back to 2023, because this article was released in 2023. However, because of the Constitutional Court judgment which has ruled against President Cyril Ramaphosa, ordering the parliament to constitute an impeachment committee against him, which will then decide his fate going forward, saying that there was actually with the report that said there was prima facie evidence that was not supposed to be overlooked. It was supposed to be considered, but the parliament at that time, with the ANC being in the majority, they ensured that they tried to bury that. However, the Constitutional Court decided to resurrect it so that the president can be put into accountability.
The conclusion is this. The effect of the three judgments is as follows. This court, A, unanimously finds that it has exclusive jurisdiction in respect of the challenge to the validity of Rule 129I. B, by a majority, finds that it does not have exclusive jurisdiction in respect of the challenge to the NA vote. C, by a majority, concludes that Rule 129I is inconsistent with the Constitution and invalid. D, by a majority, concludes that the NA vote is inconsistent with the Constitution and invalid. And E, by a majority, concludes that the report must be referred to the Impeachment Committee. It is declared that the vote of the National Assembly taken on 13 December 2022, declining to refer the report of the independent panel to an impeachment committee as envisaged in the NA rules, is inconsistent with the Constitution, invalid, and it is set aside.
The core of this new controversy revolves around the staggering allegation that Arthur Fraser was offered 50 million rands to drop the criminal charges he laid against the president in 2022. It's very important for you to note that this isn't just a quiet payoff. It was allegedly an ultimatum. Drop the charges or face the consequences. This is where the story turns into a thriller. Enters Mswazi Msibi. While Msibi is now deceased, he was a name that sends chills through many circles. He was heavily implicated at the Madlanga Commission as a kingpin in several cartels.
There was a gentleman that was very big in the taxi business. He's late now. He had a game farm in north of Pretoria. Talk about taxi bosses, talk about business people, very prominent one. Talk about politicians, very prominent one. Will all make a turn in that place. I had conducted a peace talk in KZN on the taxes. He came there. I think he did not appreciate what I said in that meeting. When he left, I heard this thing from people that are close to him. One of them is this Sergeant Nkosi, because he grew up with him there. He was his father. Where this man says, I want Mkwanas to come to the farm. If you can't bring Mkwanas to the farm, that means you don't have control over Mkwanas. Because he believed that if you come to the farm, it's a sign of respect to him.
Very Msibi also, Lieutenant General Mkwanas, told us about how he's controlling the taxi industry, that he also wants to capture everybody, not just the politicians, but all police officers.
Was run in the farm that belonged to one Mr. Mswati in Pretoria, where politicians will account, business people will account, the whole lot will account. Give the list of those that have made a turn that have had to account, you'll be shocked. So when you have such, and we see that Mswati is no more, and someone else is taking over from him, the name that the media even afraid to pronounce, Steve Mutsumi, amongst others, and nobody says anything about it.
It is alleged that Mr. Msibi was the man ordered to neutralize Arthur Fraser and his high-profile legal representative, which is Advocate Muzi Skhakhane. What was the plan? The plan is that the 50 million rands bribe, if the 50 million rands bribe wasn't enough, it wasn't enough to make the Phala Phala case to disappear. A hit would.
Now, the South African Police Service has confirmed that former State Security Agency Director General Arthur Fraser has laid criminal charges against President Cyril Ramaphosa at the Rosebank Police Station in Johannesburg. Now, in a statement, Fraser says the charges emanate from the theft of over $4 million by robbers in February 2020. He alleges that they did this in collusion with a domestic worker at the president's Phala Phala farm in Waterberg in Limpopo. Fraser claims that the president was involved in defeating the ends of justice, kidnapping of the suspects, interrogating and bribing them, and then concealing the crime from police. Now, Fraser says he hopes police will investigate the matter without fear or favor, and that the president will respond to the allegations.
According to the reports resurfacing, Advocate Skhakhane was alerted to the dangers by a businessman who had been approached to carry out or facilitate the hit. Skhakhane reportedly spoke to this individual over the phone to confirm threat. However, when a face-to-face meeting was arranged to secure evidence, things went south. The messenger was reportedly kidnapped, brutally beaten, and left for dead. This man was terrified. He refused any further contact with Fraser or Skhakhane. Without the witness, the story of the hit and bribe largely fades. Until now.
A president who's preparing an impeachment process this side and then occupying the office of the president at the same time. You cannot serve the two. One is going to suffer. So he should go and concentrate on this impeachment process because it has got serious implications on him as an individual. And if I were him, I should resign with immediate effect to concentrate on this matter. The ANC is exposed, and we've always told you that the ANC abuses its majority. The people, when they give you majority, they don't give you majority to go and defend crime, to go and defend wrongdoing and corruption. They give you majority to pass laws that are going to be in their best interest, not on the interest of an individual. So this again exposes the ANC. The ANC leave Ramaphosa himself. The ANC itself has to take a decision whether it wants to be led by a president with this dark cloud hanging over him, a president who's going to be subjected to very rough and thorough questions in the impeachment process where more things are going to come out. We said to you, for as long as the EFF is alive, Phala Phala will remain alive.
The matter goes to Parliament. Actually say is going to work with parties in the opposition on this issue. We've been very involved in the Phala Phala matters from the IPID investigation side as well. And we're going to call upon parties in the GNU that they need to find their principles once again.
The Democratic Alliance remains a party of ethics, clean governance, and constitutionalism. That has not changed. And so no one, and absolutely no one, should expect the DA to shield any form of wrongdoing. even if that wrongdoing is done by the President of the Republic of South Africa?
We are going to ensure, because obviously with the institution of the impeachment committee, ensure that we drive the agenda that the president must be impeached.
Obviously, this whole situation of them being told that there is a hit on them, specifically referring to Advocate Skhakhane as well as Mr. Fraser, these allegations have made them to live in fear, because it says that sources added that Fraser never slept in the same house twice after he opened the case, and that he's always on the run. The Sunday Independents understand that Skhakhane was one of the people who allegedly targeted to be arrested on bogus charges that are linked to the July unrest. And it's very important, before I can finish off this video, to understand that these cases, guys, these two individuals specifically, are very much close with Mr. Jacob Zuma. And I don't know if this was because of them being the Jacob Zuma allies, or Skhakhane being the known legal representative of Jacob Zuma. Not that his representative belongs to him, but Zuma always briefs him to handle his cases, especially at the time when he was the president or exiting his role as the president. Both these individuals heavily challenged the State Capture Commission. They challenged the imprisonment of the former president Jacob Zuma. Hence, they kind of feel like they're being targeted in a way.
So I resented that, and I took the decision then to place him on medical parole, and I'd given a host of reasons.
Confident it will stand whatever scrutiny?
It's legal and procedural.
I'm appealing to your psyche. I'm appealing to your honesty about your own errors. It's law because we look at how to tighten claims of bias that are raised by lawyers and litigants simply to disqualify a judge. And so it's important that we make that balance. And because it's not made clear. So bias is a state of mind. But what are we to do when we ask a judge to recuse themselves because we have a reasonable apprehension of bias? Well, there's a case, it's R versus S. It's a Canadian Court of Appeal case, Chair, which accepted the definition that is in R versus Bertram about defining bias as a start. It says, it's a leaning, an inclination, bent or predisposition towards one side or another, or a particular result. In its application to legal proceedings, it represents a predisposition to decide an issue or cause in a certain way, which does not leave the judicial mind perfectly open to conviction.
I don't know if that is because of that, but you can just see that here they were targeting them, and the target seems like it failed, because they also went to the brother's son, which is Phala Phala, who was raised by the advocate and stays with him, and was arrested and linked to the July unrest, but all charges against him were withdrawn. My whole family has been targeted and victimized because of my clients. I too was also supposed to be arrested and linked to the July unrest, just to tarnish my image and reputation, Skhakhane said. The source close to Fraser and Skhakhane added that the two men had vowed that they would die fighting, that to die selling out the country. I don't know what you guys think about this article. Let me hear your thoughts, what you think. Let me hear your thoughts about these serious allegations that have been made by Fraser regarding the bribe. Do you think they're true, or you just think that high chances is not true? Because how can someone, I even saw someone commenting and saying, how can one person refuse 50 million rands? It does not look true. It looks too good to be true. I don't know what you guys think. Let me hear your thoughts, what you think about these allegations, the involvement of Mswazi Msibi, and the fact that high chances Mswazi Msibi might have some close proximity to President Cyril Ramaphosa, of which, to tell you the truth, I'm not shocked at all. We know that there's a lot of politicians that are close to Mswazi Msibi, including Johan Rupert, And we know that Cyril Ramaphosa is said to be some Johan Rupert ally or their friends, or they took him to school, they took Ramaphosa to school. I don't know what the relationship, but we know how close they are, that he even took Johan Rupert to the White House in Washington. So that in and of itself should tell you that if indeed Johan Rupert as well as Mswazi, they're in the same taxi business, then high chances they actually know each other. They know President Cyril Ramaphosa. As to whether Cyril Ramaphosa is the one that gave the instruction for them to do the hit on Fraser and Skhakhane, that's just another story altogether.
I have a friend, Jabo Mbusa. We go back long ago.
Sure.
From when Jabo was, in private sector. Oh, by the way, Jabo and I have one thing in common. He's chairman of the Taxi Association. And one of the first tenants of business partners was the Taxi Association. So I also have my own army when those red guys come. They've got to go and remember the Taxi Association.
They held a party at this place. I went. I can't remember where I was from. And I didn't know this man, but I was like, there's just something about this guy. They said, no, this is Msibi, the boss of taxis. So it made sense to have taxi people there at Z's party, because Zé works with the taxi SAs, the one who do deals for them and all of that.
But it looks like it's just a lot that President Ramaphosa has. Do you think he's going to survive, especially in light of the motion of no confidence that has been filed by the ATM as well as Umkhonto party? Do you think he's going to survive all of this, or you think that it is chai for him? And others have called for his resignation. Do you think that that will be the best decision or what? Let me hear your thoughts. Otherwise, guys, I'll see you on my next upload. Bye.